I lived in Ukrainian Village. And Ukrainian Village there's no United Methodist Church in Ukrainian Village. There's some around it, but not there. And the district parsonage was there. And so basically whoever purchased it in the southern end of the district, right? So then I had to drive everywhere north, basically, to the churches. And I know many of you, especially from the upper 3 districts, are going, well, I really don't care. That doesn't sound very hard because I have to drive thousands of miles, right? But anyway, it just meant that I had to drive and pass a lot of things to get to churches. So every day I would drive by a Starbucks. Chicago has a ton of them. And I would drive by a different one every time. And I'm a coffee fanatic. Obviously, I found Bixby's last night before I went to bed. And so I would stop on my way to a church conference. You know, church conferences, those annual meetings that superintendents do. And I had 60 of them a year. I know some of the DSers, I wish I had 60. But anyway, I would get heartbroken on Sunday mornings especially that the Starbucks was packed out. And then the church where I arrived had 20 or 30 people. Now, folks, there's something wrong with that picture, right? And these folks in the Starbucks, a lot of them, as I would converse with them in line, are you headed to church? What? You know? Yeah, I mean, like, what are you talking about? And then there was this kind of back off, you know. So the reality is church was irrelevant to them. Or if it was relevant, it had been a bad experience. Or reality is they just didn't know if a church existed or cared that they existed, right? So every Sunday morning, almost every Sunday morning, my heart was broken as I saw young adults, older adults, diverse adults in these Starbuckses, in these restaurants, in these breakfast places, and not in congregations, not in churches. And then what I realized is I visited some of these churches, and some of you know this as lay people, and some of you know this as clergy, and most of you know this as district superintendents. Some of our churches are just not welcoming, right? Or they try to be welcoming, but they're just not going to meet the need. Or some are revitalizing and making that happen. Or some of them are working extremely hard, but the community they're serving is so radically different, it might make sense to do something completely new there, or something completely new, different in a different place, right? So the point is, it just began to convict me every Sunday as I saw these Starbucks fuller than the churches I served, that something was different. And maybe God was saying to me, it's time to do something different.